It's Kappa Kappa. Young millionaires. The general. Let's go. I wake up every day, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great. Every day I'm getting paid, man, this life is going great. I just wanna celebrate, I made it in and out of state. $1 million in the case, I got it here, the summer safe. I multiply all my millions and really I am extremely wealthy. I distributed my millions with my family. This is just the beginning, I purchased a Lamborghini. Driving around the city, believe me, you haven't seen me. Made it through all the struggle, defeated all of my rivals. I was never entitled, I had to fight for survival. Man, this life is amazing, it's crazy the way we made it. Now I'm living my dreams and I'm burning, just getting started. I'm a millionaire. I'm just living life. Classy, every day I'm classy. Gotta recognize the realest person in the fashion. Classy, every day I'm classy. Gotta recognize the realest person on the fashion. I made it through the struggle back when I was very worried. Now I'm chilling, get my condo, Lamborghinis and Bugatti. I know you in a hurry, but I promise don't be worried. When you see me in the club, I party, got enough to party. I'm a multi-millionaire, getting money everywhere. I ain't tripping on nobody, I just came to celebrate. Yeah, we got the party popping, got the general over here, throwing money in the air, cause we get it every day. I multiply all my millions, now me and my people winning. Moving city to city, I promise that you will see me driving a Lamborghini, but this is just the beginning. $1 million Bugatti, I'm stacking money in the ceiling. Multiply all my millions, now me and my people winning. Moving city to city, I promise that you will see me driving a Lamborghini, but this is just the beginning. $1 million Bugatti, I'm stacking money in the ceiling. I'm a millionaire. I'm just living life. Classy, every day I'm classy. Gotta recognize the realest person in the fashion. Classy, every day I'm classy. Gotta recognize the realest person on the fashion.
You're up, Jeff.
What's up, guys? We got Nikki G, we got Carson, we got my big boy John. We're here live from the grill in Albuquerque, New Mexico, about to give you the truth. We're on the Truth Podcast. We're about to give you guys the truth about life. What's up, guys?
What's new, man?
Hello.
I missed last week.
It was me and Big John holding down the fort hard, baby.
Big time.
We came out like Magic Johnson and Kareem did.
Yeah.
It was like the
Yeah.
showtime.
I know. I had to be a fireman that day, so I couldn't make it. But things went crazy.
Yeah.
I
had
listened to
the,
it twice, so I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
There was some really good messages. He had some really great analogies that that I never thought about, even just like the big
checked it
rocks.
out.
And
yeah. I just had a
It makes
listing
me-
go active and got 13 offers on, so we had to go through all that. So I was like, oh crap, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Nice.
Which is a good problem to have, I guess. But
Yeah,
anyways.
definitely.
What's new?
Just grinding, Winston, you know what I mean? Just grinding. You know, well, first off, we start off today at the podcast. Which I was new. I've been getting a lot of love on the gram and Facebook, and I kind of want to show this real quick. Shout outs to Justin Leba. He sent me out. He's building this shirt brand, and he hit me up and said, "Hey Jen, can I send you some shirts?" I thought it was pretty cool, and it's called A Different Breed. But we know that Jen's definitely a different breed, so they want to send that out to me. And then just getting a lot of great messages there from old friends, from the fitness community, is telling me that they're praying for me and stuff like that. I thought it's freaking powerful, right? I need all the prayers I can get. So just want to send you guys a shout out. I appreciate all the love you send out there to me. That's about it, Winston, dude. I just been grinding, baby.
Yep.
I'm about to get that oven cooking again. You know what I mean? We're about to get
You
that
gotta
oven.
make sure that thing still works, dude. You gotta make sure
That
you
oven's
turn it on here
heavy.
and there.
We're gonna have to be in the oven one of these days of the podcast. You know what I mean? I don't know
Not
if
the
anybody's
Betty
ready.
Crocker one, dude.
It's just gonna be the big oven, dude.
What's on your mind? What are we talking about today?
Well, it's crazy. Talking a little bit. We're gonna kind of circle through a lot of the things that I've been talking about on the podcast, right? One of the things that really set hard, and Nikki's got some ideas of what really hit her head, and I'm just gonna let roll with those seeds. But one of the big things is I'm gonna circle back kind of in the middle of the podcast on goals, right? You know, we talk about setting goals and we talk about writing goals down. But then I'm going to talk about, in which I've talked before, but not really in depth. They've kind of evolved in my mind is, you know, understanding when you write that goal down, do you got what it takes? Can you do it? And are you going to be successful at it? And I think one of the things is, because this is the truth, is really getting that perspective in, are you going to lay those goals out and really going to achieve them? So I think one of the things Nikki was really, she was fired up. She called me up. I said, Nikki, get your ass over here. You know, she was really fired up about what she heard last time when me and Big John were holding this down. So Nikki, I'm gonna turn it over to you. Kind of give us a little bit of that platform.
Absolutely. It's kind of funny. Right after I hung up with you, I had lunch with a good friend, John, and it struck a lot of conversations that we already had. And one of the biggest things that I think is what's the next logical step? You know, when we have these goals or these, you know, power statements, how does an individual apply it? I feel like there's muscle memory for you, right? So there's no questions asking for you too. But for the people that are either starting or have been starting, like, how do they actually take the step? Because here's the thing, is I feel like everybody, it has a 24-hour period, and everybody's trying to do the self-development, but I think they only invest an hour into it. You know, how do you live that lifestyle? And that's what we were talking about. And I always speak from experience. And since I started rolling with Jack and I started listening to this stuff, I'm an applier. I apply things. And let me tell you, stuff has been hitting the wall for me. The floodgates have opened.
Right.
I have been manifesting amazing stuff. Things have been so effortlessly. And I've noticed because I applied things, and I've always done that. There's stuff where I feel like there's a couple bricks in front of my way, but I'm just bashing them through.
Right.
And my next logical step is really where I am, okay, like, here's my day. How can I make my day more effective and more productive? And what things am I doing to level up? You know, how am I retaining my money? You know, how am I investing my money? What are the things that can really take me to the next level? But taking the little steps that I've taken, man, I literally just through the roof in the past 2 months. My life is just changing. Yeah. And I feel like I was stagnant for a little bit. And I feel like that's the key, is when people are stagnant, how do you stay on cruise control? You know, how is that cruise control? What is that? What does that mean? How can it be across the board? You know, that's something that really I feel like I need to hear, because that's what anytime I get on this, it's like, what do I need? You know, because how I level up, I level someone else up. Because a lot of people come to me for advice or, you know, life coaching and stuff like that. I just need to figure out how to start bringing in those checks. I feel like I've been a free life coach for too many years, you know?
That nonprofit life.
Try that like a t-shirt for 21 years.
Yep. John knows that.
John knows that, baby. I'm waiting for the check.
What do you think? There's a lot of good stuff we could talk on that, kind of in where you start. I guess that's what we're all comment on, is when someone, whoever is listening, you know, has a vision or has a plan that they want to go out, and how do they go out and do that, right?
Yeah.
And a big thing that me and Jack have always talked about is that you have to, whatever your goal is, you want to be a photographer, videographer, engineer, doctor, you need to learn from those people who are actually successful doing it. Take them to lunch and tell them what your goals are, and they can help you to do that. And that's something that comes with personal development, and you know it all that stuff, because firm believer in the student's ready. When the student is ready, the teacher will arrive. Right? So you have to be mentally prepared for even the goal that you want to achieve. It's the difference between just saying, oh yeah, I want to, you know, be the best doctor that there ever was. Well, do you really though? Do you know what goes into that? Do you know how much studying and hours of craft that goes into it? You know what I mean? And it's preparing yourself and knowing what goal that you're going after to pick for. And then once you build your network circle and your personal development is ready, then you start getting your plan laid out. And I call it building a blueprint. Without a blueprint, you can't build a house.
Well, I'm going to use me for perspective, because that's 10 years ago, that's exactly what I needed to hear.
Yeah.
But I've put in the footwork now. I put in the time. I've gotten the education. I've gotten the network. I've gotten the experience. I've built portfolios, right? So, like, where's my next level up? That's kind of where like I'm ready for.
Gotcha.
You know, because that was me.
Well, it's kind of like one of those things where you kind of caught yourself and you're like, well, I'm tired of being a free life coach, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah.
It's time to be for profit, Nikki.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the one thing, Nikki, right there is, again, when we talk about is, you know, what kind of stamina do you got? Right? And I think one of the things that people don't realize, and you know, this is what I've seen about this when I was driving over here, right? You think about bodybuilding and you look at bodybuilders and you can see a pretty skinny guy, you know, really transform himself, and you can look at him and say, well, you know, he was probably a thinner looking bodybuilder, right? Unless, you know, there's massive drugs involved. But the one thing I think that I always like to keep the truth, right, and I like to keep the honesty again, is I think that most individuals do not know their personal stamina. And let me touch on that, okay? So you got to understand, like, when you wake up in the morning, can you wake up early? Can you work hard, and how long can you sustain it? For a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, right? Weeks, months. Can you measure that, and do you know that? So before you start building the blueprint, like what you talked about and what you're talking about where you're at, guess what you're coming up to now? It's called personal budget, right? You can draw the biggest blueprint in the world, right? 10,000 square foot mansion, and if your budget ain't there, you ain't gonna build shit. All you got is a drawing that's unattainable. So I think one of the things that most people don't know is, hey, what's my budget? What's my mental budget? What's my physical budget, right? And what's my spiritual budget? And without knowing those budgets as an individual, you're just gonna find yourself not really going to those next levels, right? And I'm gonna give you an example. Where does the physical really play huge? Well, if you gotta stay up late and you gotta get up and you gotta get shit done and you're not taking care of your body's gonna break down, right? If it breaks down to a certain point, then it's gonna take out of your mental budget. And if your mental budget's already taxed,
domino effect,
right? Then you're gonna tax that mental budget. And then that mental budget, you're gonna hope and say, well, I hope spiritually I'm there so I can hold up this temple. And this is the whole thing about people overextending themselves, even financially, right? That's the same thing in building business. Just because you do something 1 or 2 or 3 times, I call those the home runs. You cannot base your success or what you're gonna do on hitting home runs every single game. So that's where statistical data plays a huge role, right? And so when Carson, we talk about like being an engineer or certain things, they're just certain things that say, you know what, do you got what it takes? You know what I mean? Don't be mad at me.
It's a self-evaluation that you need to do. Yeah. But in playing devil's advocate, okay, I always do this to you.
Tries. You know, kind of like the muscle memory.
No. But for something who wants to push their boundaries, right? Maybe they don't know. What do you tell that individual who says, okay, you know, they're young and they say, okay, I want to build a $500 million business or $1 billion business. You know what I mean? What if they can do it and they just haven't unlocked that piece to know that they can? You get what I'm saying? Or is it just something where, are you more on the side of setting short-term goals to get to the ultimate long-term goal in the long run and see how far you get? You get what I'm saying?
You already know this answer, but I'm going to tell you this, right? This is
no, but I want everyone to hear this.
Yeah, this is the story of fucking, like, you know, people talk about Zuckerberg, right? Well, Zuckerberg was already a fucking genius coming into the game. And so he was in the tech world. He's in Silicon Valley. He put himself in an ecosystem where, you know, the mega billionaires are being pumped out. I mean, we talked about this. Who bought the LA Clippers, right? Mm-hmm. Third, fourth in command for fucking Microsoft. Mm-hmm. There's no sports athlete could have bought that. So he was literally breeding himself out of the breeding gown of billionaires, right? Mm-hmm. I call it billionaire circle. What I think is, when you're sitting in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or you're sitting in Timbuktu, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but you're not in the ecosystem to hit a $500 million. Those are just play numbers. And if you start to think about things like play numbers, then all of a sudden, then it becomes fantasy, right? And then that's watching a fucking movie. Mm-hmm. Ain't gonna get there. So yes, you gotta do something. You gotta test yourself, right? So that's what it is. I wake up this morning and I say, you know what? I'm gonna get out there to the combine. I'm gonna walk into the NFL combine. Can I do that? John, can I do that? You're a football guy. No. Because how many people think they got the dream, right?
Well, most high school kids think they have that dream, but what 1/10 of 1% get invited to the combine, if that number even is right, you know. So
do you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So you're testing yourself in that high school field. Mm-hmm. You got to be the top athlete in your region. Then you got to be the best in North and South. Mm-hmm. Then you got to be the best regionally, right? Southwest region, Western region, whatever it is. And then you just got to be a badass, right? Yeah. So the thing is about it And this is what I want to tell people, right? Is ultimately, when I sit down and people tell me I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I sit and I say, well, that's cute. I'm going to fucking listen to you. I'm not going to pop your dream. I don't got that kind of thing. If you do it, you do it. But that's like me saying, you know what? I'm going to roll to Vegas. I'm going to pay the $5 slots. I'm going to pay and I'm going to hit 20 million. It's not going to fucking happen.
Yeah.
There might be that one time it rolled, that one guy you hear about, he also got hit by lightning. But if I take my bankroll and I'm paying $25, $50 a hand, and I hit a fucking royal flush, I'm gonna hit those numbers. You see what I'm trying to tell you?
And saying that is, I don't want to take away from people doing that, but it's what I want to focus on is people actually knowing the cost it takes and the price to pay to be able to get that end result. You get what I'm saying? So when people state that, it's like, okay, do you really understand what you're going to have to go through to accomplish this? And is it something that you can take on?
And then the other scary part, I think, and I don't want to put the gloom, but I want to bring that reality in, right? I think where I'm at right now when I'm coaching somebody, you know, if you're a really coach, you want to coach them to win, succeed. You know, if someone comes in and says, you know, I'm going to be the heavyweight champion of the world, I say, okay, we got to get you here first. We got to get you golden gloves. We got to get you to the Olympics. Now we got to get you in a few of these pro fights. Now we're going to see what it is. So you don't start right immediately, I'm going to start training this guy with pros right off the bat.
Exactly.
Because he's going to get his great speed off, and then he's going to lose the gumption, and he never got to what he could have gotten. And I think I've told you this, Winston. I think one of the things that I've seen in my life, I've seen many successful people hit the wave, the peak of the wave, and then spend all their success to try to get back to that peak of the wave, just like heroin addicts. And sometimes
it only hits once.
It only hits once. I mean, you see me in the casino all the time. I hit 4 jackpots. I put all the fucking money back. You know what? I'm just telling you. So sometimes you got to know, you know, that Kenny Rogers song, you got to know when to hold him and fold him, right?
Yeah.
Life is poker. And I think what happens is some of us are going to hit the jackpot. We're all going to go prepared. But some of us are going to hit the jackpot. Some of us are going to do well. We're not going to hit the fucking jackpot. We're not going to do a royal flush. But we're going to get 4 4s? Yeah. Some of us might get 4 aces. Some of us might, you know, get 4 2s. But I think that ultimately, if you set your sight and learn that stamina, well, you ask yourself this. If I'm in high school and I'm the #1 sneaker seller dude in high school, well, that's going to put you in that top 10% to compete in that 1/10%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you start talking 500 million, those are big fucking numbers, right? That's the far and few crowd that I talk about, right? So I think that kind of touching on what you're saying, Nikki, is really that stamina. You know, what do you know? What's that stamina? Are you battle tested? How much are you battle tested? And how much conquer are you going to do? John's going to love this shit, right? Because he's a history guy, right? Let's just look at some of the greatest conquerors that I like to use. And I use the Vikings, right? Vikings came in, rolled into England, kicked the shit out of England, started raiding the shit out of them, taking the gold. Then they started thinking, well, we can start taking a lot of European countries. Then the Vikings met the French, right? And had multiple failures against the French because the French had technology. Their forts were built very high based off the ocean. So now you're trying to climb walls. You're not landing on a beach. You had fearsome warriors still. So even at that point, again, you were biting off more than you can chew. And you really didn't say, oh, how am I going to get to this? Some of the Vikings' greatest victories were actually playing dead, coming out of coffins to infiltrate, kind of like the Trojan horse, right? So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that I want to just tell people out there, let's accomplish small goals, but those victories are going to feel like, make those the 500 million for yourself.
Yeah.
And this is where we got to stop basing ourselves off fucking social media, the filter life, right? I call it the filter life. That's going to be my new patent word. The filter life. And so that we don't feel like failures.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Kylie Jenner. She had to doctor up her tax returns to try to be a billionaire, and she was 100 mil short.
Yeah.
Right? But think about 800 mil. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Exactly.
So that's what I don't want. I think that society's falling into that. And you're worried about, oh, what's my neighbor doing? What's this? Look, winners focus on winners. Losers focus on winners.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're out there like, you know what, you know, so-and-so this, so-and-so that, you know what, guess what that's telling you? That's the making of a loser. Because you're already identifying your competition as a winner. And that's already a psychological spot. When I got into this game in technology, I was never looking at any competition. I was looking at myself. I'm grinding this sucker, putting my head out, and coming up. And I think that kind of touch a little bit. Or
No, yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for, because what I want to get across people is that you're not coming off that someone can't do anything, but what you're saying is you need to focus on those fundamentals and the small steps and level up and level up and level up. And of course, celebrate those small wins as if it is that championship, because then you're showing what you always talk about too, is gratitude.
Gratitude.
Right? And once you get gratitude in things that you're having and not so much from a take standpoint or what else can I next get, mentally it starts to mess you up. We truly believe you don't continue to be blessed if you're not thankful for the things you've ever accomplished. So that's the exact thing. I mean, if you're trying to grow and get to the next level, do you have the fundamentals down to a top tier? You know what I mean? And what do you think you need to grow in your life or your company or relationships, whatever the case may be, that you feel is a missing piece in that to get out of that stagnant level?
And I think the thing about it, Nikki, to call them that is, I think for yourself, you still haven't defined what success is. Like I could look across the table and say, I know what kind of success you're looking for, but that wouldn't be fair, right?
Yeah.
The master can't give you what the end looks like.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you this, I've given the hints, and I always talk about this, right? It's financial freedom, physical freedom, and mental freedom. That's the basis of success for me, right? If you have those freedoms, then you're good. Now it's very simple, right? We're playing volleyball every Tuesday and Thursdays, and I'm with my friends, and it's crazy because someone took a video of me, right? And I'm at the shoulders, I'm gonna send you this video. And we're playing like hell, and Steve's playing with us. And there's this video where I literally take flight. And the individual that I'm playing, he's about 5'11", right? And you see my waist above his head. And the guys, and I'm like little on the net, and like, that's cheating, you can't, they call it roof-topping or something like that, right?
Whoa.
But in basketball, you know, I call that, you know, you're eating the leather.
As long as you don't touch net, you can go over.
Yeah.
I just watched the pro volleyball stream this
So
weekend.
that's what I'm telling you, right? So, you know, they're like, holy shit, the gym's got the hops, right?
Jack dunked the net. That's why they got mad.
Yeah. So they were giving me this, and I don't even touch the net a little bit, not even a tiny bit, right? But the funny part is they're like, oh, why are you stretching out? Why are you doing this? And I'm saying, dude, I used to be a pro athlete. Of course I'm gonna stretch out. I don't care what you guys think. You know, I got the compression pants. You already know how I am. I'm well prepared. I'm not gonna go out there in jeans, kick your ass, pull a muscle just to show you that I'm bad. I know I'm bad. I'm gonna let my performance speak for you. Well, anyways, these videos were around, and everyone's like, holy shit. But you know, the crazy part for me is, you know, kind of says is, I know that I can push myself to a physical level that's gonna blow people's minds, right? And so there's that what I call physical freedom. I guarantee you, right? Carson, 24 years old, he can round up his 24-year-old buddies. We're gonna go to the weight room, and I'm gonna go fucking hard in the paint, or basketball, or this. But what have I done? I put that work so that I'm physically free. You know, I got guys that in their 40s and they're talking about, oh, you know, I'm old. You know, it's time for the young bulls to come up to the fucking watering hole. And I'm sitting there and saying, I am the fucking young bull. You're talking about the baby bulls? Not yet, baby. I still rule this freaking yard. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah,
but I think it's that mental part of it, right? It's
Yeah.
that whole freedom.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the piece that I want to tell you, Nikki, is that ultimately, like what you figured out in life, and we've had these conversations, is the moment that you're gauging your success off people's opinions or how they feel or how you were brought up or whatever that, you take that plate and you throw it on the ground and shatter that fucker, get your broom, put it in the trash. That we can't control,
Yeah.
right? The moment, I'm gonna tell you something, this is from my heart, like, and I'm all fired up today, I came strong, right?
Ready.
The moment that you let money or people's opinions define you, you're fucked.
Absolutely.
Because now you've literally done something that's non-tangible, unmeasurable, control you, and then you got something that's has no fucking sense, that's dumb as a doorknob, that's a shovel, that's a resource control you. The moment that a resource or an opinion can control you, fucking just hang your shoes up and call it a day.
because then you're not truly what you want to do. And maybe that's certain reasons why people would feel stagnant, is because even you could be succeeding in what you're doing or what you strive to do, but that's not truly what's making you happy either.
Absolutely.
You know, because that I kind of had that reflection last year, where I had done an amazing job in my production, but I was still felt like I was missing something. You know, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, yeah, I really like money or whatever. The money was there, but I still didn't feel that.
Something wasn't being
Yeah,
fulfilled.
something wasn't there. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I think it's time for me to build something.
Yeah.
So then now I branched off, started my own real estate team, and now I'm building that. And now I have like all kinds of crazy energy, and I'm like super pumped up about it because it's like starting back
Well,
in
it lights
nothing to
your
build.
fire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. Even though like last year for me, business was really good, I just felt like there was still something missing. And that's the exact thing, is defining success for yourself. And that's what a lot of people need to do, because so much kids nowadays, they're not even kids, you know, young adults, mid-aged people, whatever the case may be, are still defining success off of other people's opinions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even like a big thing for me, everyone was like, go to school, do this, do that, do that. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. You know, it didn't make sense to me. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be an attorney. I didn't want to do none of that. And I was like, no.
But these are people that probably aren't even going to school, or
Yeah, or people saying, you know, I didn't do this, so you need to do it. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, but I don't want that long-term result.
Yeah.
So what it does to people is when they actually do follow through with what whoever is advising them, who are they really living for at that point? And they can go through, and you see it happen all the time. These kids are getting these degrees. They just spent 4 or 6 years getting a degree, and then they're like, oh, I hate what I'm doing. Then they want to go back to school, but they really don't know what they want to study. And then it's like, this individual has wasted so much time of their life where they could have actually been in the field doing something at a younger age, and now they're barely starting at late 20s, early 30s. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I'm gonna tell you something. You know what? You know that fucking bullshit that I call it the Winston's generation. It says, you know, you gotta like what you do. I wake up in the morning, I wonder if I like what I do. That's fucking it and shit. You know what Floyd Mayweather said? It's our God-given gift, right? Floyd, one time I was talking to him in his locker room, he says, you think I like to box? No, that's my God-given gift. You think I like doing technology? Fuck no, that's my God-given gift. You know, I mean, sometimes you gotta wake up and say, what's my God-given gift? It ain't about what makes me feel good. Take that God-given gift, bust your ass, and then on your spare 8 hours, buy yourself that freedom. I think too many people are looking at, oh, what makes me happy? Well, dude, if fucking work's making you happy, I really would hate to see what your sex life looks like, right? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, holy shit, right? You know what I'm trying to tell you?
No, but what I'm saying is not so much the happiness of what success is for you. You know what I mean? Like, if you obviously don't like what you do, then that's not really a true success. You know what I mean?
I have to speak on the rare breed thing, because for me, I feel like I'm a rare breed in a sense, because since second grade, I've been doing exactly what I love. I've gotten degrees in what I love. I've gotten paid. I've already had a sense of the American success. But like you said, there was something more, something I was missing, and I've kept like a pipeline of multiple pipes open. So I was constantly building and stuff. And so in my case, where I'm at now, is I've already kind of lived that success.
Right.
I'm homesick, and I don't know where the fuck home is. And
You know what you are, Nikki?
What?
You're a business pimp. That's what it is, you know what I mean? You're a business pimp. You know what? You know what's funny? I love you guys, right? I gotta bust your balls all the
I
time.
love it.
You know why? I'm gonna tell you this, because you're a business pimp. Let me tell you what it is.
Okay.
Nikki, and most of the people that I know, most of the successful females I know, I call them the modern age hippies, right? They got this woo-woo shit, you know, going on. And, you know, and I love that. That's that energy that comes in. And ultimately, you know, at the end of the day you stop being a business pimp and you decide to get that craft, right, like that craftsman, and you move that and you say, I'm gonna get rid of all these hustles. Because businessmen don't call shit hustles. Anytime I hear someone saying, I got this hustle, that's exactly what it is, right? It's like playing at the casino, that's a hustle for me. That's not a true game. When you're a craftsman, right, it becomes the art of what you do, right? So that's what we're working with you on that one. That's what you're working on your craft. It probably hasn't become your art yet. But I tell you this, at the end of the day, like me, I wake up in the morning and say, I don't know if I like half the shit that I do, but I like one thing. I love winning. At any cost, I love winning. So if I got in the real estate game, I'd fucking probably hate it, but I love winning, baby. I'll be putting those numbers on the board. That's all that matters to me, right? So you got to understand that's what motivates me is that winning, that competitive edge, right? No matter what it is.
And that's your personal success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you find when you're good at something and the winds come super fast, like you're breathing, then you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I'm at that pocket right now. I have not felt this alive in a really long time. I mean, even to like photography, I just started a series and I stopped shooting for a while because it was just, I don't know, just I just had to take away, and during this quarantine, I've bettered my craft.
Yeah.
I started chiseling. It's like everything he said, like I'm right there and I'm seeing the results. But when I'm behind that camera, and not as someone's opinion, like I just recently shot for a designer, I've shot for other stuff. I don't like waiting for their opinion of liking my work.
Yeah.
When I'm lit is when I'm shooting what I want to shoot. And
Well, that's when the greatest people put out their greatest pieces of
Yeah.
work, because it's truly being unique to exactly what you're doing. Because when people start critiquing you, it's like, oh well, you know, so and so they do this touch, and you need to add that, and then it's like, okay, well, who are you really shooting like then? And that doesn't make your shots unique to exactly what your style is and all of that stuff. And that's why when you can truly do that and find that perfect balance,
Yeah.
that's when magic happens.
like my eye can't be bought.
No.
You can't.
No,
I can't
no.
You can't learn it
At all.
And you know what? Like I'm finally owning that, and that's the biggest thing. Is like, for the first time in my life, I don't give up about what anybody thinks. And
That's the best
I used
thing
to
to
live
be.
by that ego.
Yeah.
You know, like I was Nikki G the boxer. I was Nikki D
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and I could give a shit what anybody thinks about me.
Yeah.
I don't even look at my notifications.
Well,
I don't care.
But John, I'm gonna let you know something.
Just put
okay?
content out.
I'm gonna let you know something
Exactly.
I'm just gonna let you know something on record, baby. They can buy my eye. If the price is right, baby, they can buy my eye. If that check is big enough, baby, I'm just letting you know right now. You know, Nikki speaking for herself. Write me the check.
Jack's gonna come with his little eye on.
Yeah. No, you know the crazy part about this is it's good to see like Nikki, like you know working with you, and it's kind of makes me laugh. You know what I really resonated with you, and I'm really proud of you, is the day you walked into my office. We're taking those photo shoots, and I take you to the gym. You come in, you're like, I put in 2 hours in the gym, and I laughed my ass off internally. Then I took you in the gym, right? And we worked for about 15 minutes, and you were like, holy shit. I didn't put this kind of work in, right?
Yeah.
And what I wanted to show you is the correct focus on the correct platforms that will get you there, and that's what you're seeing now.
Absolutely.
And so I think one of the things you talked about, and this is something that Aiden, you know, he's not here, he's kicking ass, but I'm going to mention him, is that he's the real young generation. That's the real young generation, right? And about filling up and making a bunch of noise, and I'm doing this, and I got on social media, you're not fucking doing shit, right? All
Yeah.
you're doing is throwing a bunch of messy table. And then what's crazy is this kid, you know, his nephew, we kind of brought him to the camp, he's come to the man cave, he started detailing cars, he saw like how cars should be detailed. I mean, he's detailing the best of the best. And now he's working at our buddy's shop down on, what's the name of the place?
Auto therapy.
Auto therapy. And he's 16 years old, and he's kicking ass, and he's working 60 hours a week, right? And he's got sugar diabetes. He could have all this bullshit. It's like this. He's got to take insulin. But you know, I told him one time, we're walking out the door, and I said, don't make no fucking excuses in life. And he looks at me like, whoa. You know, his dad just died. I said, don't make no excuses in life. Because at the end of the day, forget the Charmin Awards. Those got to go. He's got 60 hours a week. And the main guy is putting him to watch stuff because he understands the system. He's not trying to cut the shortcuts and all that. That talks up to me. That's the YM culture, right? That's what I'm talking about, living and breathing success. That is this where he is gonna start and end? No. But he's at the end of the day gonna be the baddest dude in that car wash, whatever he's doing. So the next thing that he does is gonna master it. It's kind of like when I was at Lottaburger, right?
It's like mental workouts.
Everybody knew that I was the baddest burger fucking maker. I mean, people in trucks would stop all the way from Colorado and say,
Love it.
that dude makes the best fries, the best. I perfected everything. Because at the end of the day, I just gotta go in there with that bullshit attitude. If I do what I want, I'll put my name on it, right? So you're perfecting that art. When I was at Arby's, same thing. When the grandmas are saying, you know what, when this guy makes the sandwich, it tastes different. Same fucking ingredients, right? But it's how much love are you gonna put in them? It's that preciseness. And that's what I'm talking about. You could be the baddest burger dude. Some of the best chefs in the world or restaurant owners started flipping hamburgers. You gotta start knowing the basics. The shit that I don't like, Carson, and I'm glad you bring this up, and I'm not putting you on there, but the shit that I don't fucking like is what's on social media is like, for $300 you can do this and become here. That's fucking whack as shit.
Oh yeah, like the I don't know.
Like
scams is what I
yeah,
call them.
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Get rich quick shit.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
that
yeah.
game going around there. Everyone was like throwing $100 in a pot, and then the person that would run the game, the way it was working is they would take everyone's money and slowly start paying, like Bernie Madoff.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, you know what I'm trying to. And so I think that stuff like that is that we got to get away from that. There's nothing that pays better dividends than that sweat equity.
Yeah.
And then when you put that sweat equity in there, you start to use your mind and you apply just the principles of small stuff. I like what Warren Buffett says. He says, I'm willing to share with you how to make $1 billion. But it's going to fucking take you 30, 40 years. Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's the time that you put into anything is the result you had. And I mean, I'm a musician, so I'm only as good as the amount of time that I play the guitar. And I've always learned that since a young age is, I mean, I would sit there for hours. I mean, in the middle of the night shooting basketballs, just playing and playing and playing. And that's why I was one of the best players, because I put in the time. And just to touch back on like when we worked out that day, I'm gonna tell you what I left with. Calisthenics, right? You very concentrated on the muscle. Everything since I walked out of that gym that day, I've been treating it just like I'm working out, right? And I told him, I went in there, Jack, I said, I'm ready to get in the best shape of my life. And let me tell you, I've been putting in the work from everything, from the eating, the mindset, I wake up, I'm like, if Jack wakes up at 5, I'm gonna wake up at 4. I'm serious.
That's one thing I tell him. I don't like waking up early. That's myself.
Yeah, you don't
That's
like
myself
waking up.
knowing. I could do it, but there was one time me and Joe were hitting the gym at like 3:30 in the morning because I was working at Fidelity and selling real estate. So that was the only time gap I had. And I was like, God, this freaking sucks. Did it for a year, still hated it. So that's why I'm like, oh, you're not doing it long enough. And it's like, no, I freaking hate it. I would rather work out late. I hate getting up early.
You know what's crazy about that? I don't like working out early.
I just can't.
No,
Yeah.
my body's not built for that. I can't throw that heavy weight, right?
Me neither.
But what I do like to do, I'm not gonna lie, I like getting up early because I clear my head. I like those long walks. So I'm a 2-mile, like I do the fucking speed walk, right? Which is most people's fast jog. I'm gonna say they're mini sprint across the bosque. You know, my own thoughts in like my mind, and that's one thing I do like. Or I'm notorious for fucking pulling weeds. Dude, this last weekend, 2.5 truckloads, dude. People were, holy shit, they couldn't believe it. They walked out. I mean, everything's cut to pristine. But to me, that whole cutting the weeds, and my yard is so pristine. I mean, we're not talking PB Herm, we're talking 3.5 acres, right?
Yeah.
And you look at the edge, everything is edged out. And there is no fancy shit, it's a fucking weed eater. But to me, I get out there, I put that sweat, I put that work, but I'm always perfecting that. And it's just quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. But to me, it's like, okay, do I want to walk the bus and I'll get shit done and pay a dude $500-700 to get my shit done? Or do I want to just do this fucker in 2 hours every morning and not pay the $700?
But still, it keeps you sharp too. It's not just, you know what I mean? It's a little deeper than just going out and doing it. It keeps you mentally sharp.
Yeah.
There's this guy I like to listen to. We talk about him a lot, and he does it's called 75 hard, and it's basically, I think it's 75 days exactly, and he works out twice a day. He's eating right. He sets a time for like podcasting or personal development stuff every single day, and he doesn't take a single day off for 75 days. And he says it gets you in such a laser focused mindset that you forget about all the bullshit that's happening, forget about all the negativity, all the drama. He like makes you cut that out. And he's like, I'm in the happiest place I've ever been when I'm doing this. And it's true, because you're so efficient. And when you can start being efficient and productive, you naturally start feeling so much more confident and better about yourself every single day.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the website, right? We've been going at it, it's been a year project. I've been on it with Jordan, but I'm on his ass, man. I hope he's listening to this podcast. I'm on his ass. I told him I'm gonna ride you like a pony. I'm gonna fucking ride like John Wayne. And it's crazy because we're on it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I've always told this, one of the biggest mistakes that I've ever done in my personal life is when I've ever delegated a huge project or something that I know could get you fucked, and I put it in someone else's hands. Michael Jordan would not put the ball in his second or third best to win the championship.
Never.
And that's the worst mistake you could ever do. Never put something that could affect your destiny or that piece and just say, you know what, I got the money, I'm gonna put it in their hands because they're not gonna bring it home. And you're gonna be pissed off when you're number 2 and you were at the finals and you didn't bring the championship. You know what I mean? And those are some of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life. 2 or 3 things, maybe 6, that I'm just like brutal. They haunt me, and I'm like, I put them up on my haunting board. My haunting board is I put shit up there. I'm like, never run that. Been there, done that. Got the fucking T-shirt, right?
Yeah.
I got a closet of those fuckers.
I started saying that. I can't lie. Got the T-shirt to prove it.
You know what I mean?
But I think that's why I respect you so much, is because no matter all your resources, you're in it head on. Your hands are in everything, and you're in control of it. And a lot of people let that go because of their resources. Look at you doing your yard. And I relate to that because I went to the gym the other day, still feeling good. I went to my grandpa's house to start pulling his weeds just because, it's just, I don't tell anybody. I didn't even tell him I was going to show up. He actually walked outside and I was just like pulling all his weeds out. But it's because your hands are in there and you don't depend on anything. Like if your whole business, everybody you fired, it'd still be going strong.
Oh yeah, we're fucking going strong.
And that's what I love about it, and that's why I thrive on that stuff, is because I've always been my own entity. And when I have brought in people that I feel like, for instance, I paid someone to edit. There was a really dope model I worked with, and I just wanted to impress her because her work was so good, and I was second guessing myself. So I paid someone to edit the photos, and when I got them back, I didn't like them. But I let the model choose. I'm like, here's 2 albums. I'm not going to tell you who edited what. Which one did you choose? Hands down, picked mine. And I'm like, why did I even second guess myself? Like, why would I ever put myself in a situation? And that's something I'm learning. That's something I've developed is be my own entity, and be in control and be completely responsible for every element and aspect in my life.
I think the thing is, Nikki, like there'll be pieces that you will send someone because can't master everything. You'll be bullshitting yourself. But Warren Buffett says something, and I agree with this. Never get into a business that you don't understand 80% of it. See, 80%, even in high school, doesn't get you flunked. You got all B's, you're going to get the best fucking job. But the key word is 80%. Like, I'm not going to sit there. I can draw. I mean, I taught Saul how to draw. But I'm going to sit there and fucking draw like you and Saul. That's stupid as fuck. That's wasting my time.
Yeah.
If I sit there and they compare the drawings, you guys are going to beat me because you do it all the time and you got that niche. But fuck, if you put me there for a month, I'm going to give you guys a run for your money. But now I wasted a month of time. So there's certain specific things that don't make sense. And you got to know those things. So like me, I know that in my world, I'm the design architect. So I go out there, I do the walkthrough, I meet the customer, I understand what they want, I lay out the plan, I make sure the orders are through, I make sure the money's there, and then I let the soldiers out. You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So there's a difference between being a one-man band, right, and then being a successful band or a successful football team. Like, people are asking me, what do you think about Cam Newton going to the Patriots? And I said, it's probably the greatest move of his life. Now, the reason I tell you that is, one, he lacks discipline. He doesn't lack talent. But if he can get and align himself under a Belichick, because in this fucking generation, hands down, the best coach there is, period. He goes down off of that, he's going to make leaps that he's never made ever. And sometimes you need that tweak, right? It's that piece of it, but he's coming with the 80%.
Yeah.
And he's not coming with the 50%. And that's the whole thing about, are you coachable? Or when people say, I want to start a business, what do you think about this? Well, you're coming to the wrong fucking guy. This is the fucking NFL. This is the combine. The general's the combine. I can't sit with you as a startup. Not that I don't want to or I'm too arrogant and all that. I don't got the fucking time.
Yeah.
You got to come to the table with, you know what? I've done this, this, and this, and I made $100,000 this year, and I can't get past this, and I'm on year 2 or any tweaks. Not can you put a miracle on me. I am not the business Jesus Christ. I promise you. Anyone listening out there, I am not the business Jesus Christ. I can't touch you, and you're going to become successful. I promise you. It's not going to work that way. You have to come to the table with something that's semi-tangible that we can work on, right? What I always tell you, I'm a mathematical mind, right? But we're not doing some kind of mathematical dimension out there where there's all variables and no constants. That's fucking crazy, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I think most people get lost in, is that they're in this world like, I want to be financial, I want to retire. And like, what have you been doing these last 15 years? Well, what's crazy is, I was up for 3 promotions, but I never got that. I was going to go to Santa Fe College, but I didn't do it. And so I missed that promotion. And I'm here and I'm sitting there. So what you're fucking telling me is that you're 4 years from retirement, and you could have been making 80% of $100, but now you're gonna be making 70% of $50. I can't fucking help you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't help you because what I can help you is if you come in and say, I've done everything I possibly can. I've done 110%, and I've gone here, I can work with that.
Absolutely.
That's Belichick working with Cam Newton. I can do that, right?
Yeah.
But what I can't do is like you haven't even put on your high school shorts on. You haven't played for John. You haven't been out there in football, and you want to say, I want to come out. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's one of the things that guys, it's not going to get there. That's why stop talking in your head the gibberish of 100 million and 500 million and all that. You ain't gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
I've been behind $300 million conglomerates, and getting there was a mother, right? Holy shit, the resources. But I do believe this. I would have been in a New York ecosystem. I would have been in a California ecosystem. I would have been in a different ecosystem. Guaranteed I got those numbers.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because I mean, I got guys like that are on Facebook and all and say, you know what? Coming out of the fucking Gens camp, you prepared me for this, and these guys aren't at this level. That tells you that the discipline and attitude, I'm not putting myself at the high and mighty, but I'm like the fucking Vikings, dude. I'm literally up here in the mountain, all snow, no farmland, but I'm still not dying. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah,
So sometimes I think what we got to do is, again, understand our talent and then understand where's our ecosystem.
Yeah.
And the talent that we have, are we going to be able to grow it in this ecosystem? But for me, I was comfortable, right? Financially comfortable. You know, when you sit down in the game, I'm sitting down here. You know, I'm at the top of the fucking mountain. I'm at the top of the mountain. I was at the top of the mountain in 13 states at one time, right? But am I at the top of the fucking mountain in the New York Stock Exchange? Fuck no. You see what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
That's what I'm trying to say. But if I would have played in that game, would I be in the top of that? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you ask yourself, and the fear has a lot to do with it, right? Saying, is fear going to be like, no, should I just get up and roll? Or should I take this chance? Or should I do this? But what I said is, it's that risk versus reward. You got to be smart about things.
Yeah.
So what you don't want to be is a freaking gypsy taking off in a Barbie and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and you're still broke, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Right? You got to win small battles. The small battles all the way along the line, right?
Absolutely. One of the topics that I wanted to bring up to you, because I don't know your response to it, because all my years of self-development and mentorship, you know, I always heard like multiple streams of income, you know. So that was always something I did. While I worked at Fender, I was hustling this energy drink, and I was, you know, doing photos and selling my art and all this stuff. So I always, you know, was like real loose on everything. And I feel like where I'm at now, like I'm very fundamental, like I have this like solid hype of where I'm going. How multiple streams of income, from your perspective, because I don't know if you have multiple streams of, I'm guessing, how do you build that where it's consistent?
See, I don't agree with that.
See, that's what I was
See, that's a
expecting from
fucking,
you.
I'm going to tell you right now.
And that's
I don't agree with
opposite
that
from what
shit.
I've always heard. So it's just like, I want to hear that.
When you hear that multiple streams of income, who's fucking saying that? Where do you guys see it on social media? Who's saying that?
Well, I believe in it in a sense of, so I wouldn't say I don't believe in it because I do in a sense of 401k or put money in stock. But of course, I believe 70%, 30%. 70% is your main thing that brings everything in, that pays your bills. The 30% is the other stuff you dabble in and put money in. Me, when the market crashed, I put some money in and it's actually done really well. You know what I mean? Different things like that, or go in and buy a few rental properties or things like that. But those aren't things that are going to say, if this tanks, it's taking you out.
But let's define that. You see what I'm trying to tell you? So those are assets that render a residual. Very fucking different.
I love that.
Okay? So what you just explained is what I rule in. Come on. You know that shit.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to say is in society, multiple streams of income should mean that exactly.
But what are they saying? This is what this is what's good about the Truth Podcast, right? Because what these fuckers are saying is saying multiple things, like you got 3 hustles and 3 hustles are paying into it, which those 3 hustles could have 3 liabilities. And so what I mean by
Yeah, see, so I'm totally against that too.
you see what I'm trying to tell
Yeah.
you? Even you sat down and like, whoa, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah, no, I don't believe in that. But multiple streams of income to me means exactly what I.
Okay, so those are assets rendering a dividends. Now I'm gonna explain this to you, okay?
Okay.
That's John. John, you teach at Albuquerque High, right?
Not anymore. I'm at Bernalillo.
Okay, you're at Bernalillo. So when you were at, let's just go out Albuquerque High because these guys can work this. Albuquerque High, how many different subjects did you teach?
Usually 2 different disciplines with 5 different classes.
Okay, so 2 disciplines, right? And were they all pretty much in line, or can you tell me what the subjects were?
Oh no, well, when last I was teaching Albuquerque, I was world history and then government.
Okay, let's think about this. What does that have in common, world history and government? They're all history based. He wasn't here going to tell me, because if John would have fucking told me he's teaching calculus and government, I was like, holy fuck.
Culinary arts.
Okay, you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
And so what these guys are talking about in multiple streams of income, that is the dumbest shit ever. What they're talking about is create 5 hobbies that are going to make money. That's bullshit. Look, let me tell you something. I'm just going to put it out there. I have a lot of stock in one of the biggest banks, right? You'll fucking people will get in, right? When I made that move, I bought in because I had the capital, right? You know, and the Gen's known for his liquidity. I own a shitload of stocks in the regular moves, like when the market crashed, right? I own a shitload of properties, right? Houses, commercial buildings, you know, planes, shit like that. But at the end of the day, those fucking assets, if I gotta turn them, I can turn them like that. I'll call up Carson and say, I gotta fucking move everything out. Done, right? I call those power brokering your assets. What these dumbasses want you to do is say, I want you to invest in my dream, put your money in it, and you're gonna get residual income, hopefully, and you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not gonna name any names out here, but how many people do you think are out there that invested what I call the biggest fish in this town in real estate game, and now the banker calling their notes? Do you think those guys are gonna get hurt? No. All the bottom guys are gonna get fucked. Because they're gonna do is say, sorry, COVID hit, you gotta take it in the shorts, I'm gonna sell your fall,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna keep mine. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah. That's like what's the movie Fun with Dick and Jane? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that, but this is what I'm gonna
It's
tell
the
you
exact
guys.
same
Look,
thing.
ultimately, I've been to Vegas 3 times in a row here, and I've hit jackpots every fucking time. Because I send Carson the pictures. People say, how do you hit jackpots every fucking time? The trip before last, I hit 4 jackpots. This one I hit another jackpot. The reason why is because I'm gambling with money I don't give a shit. Like I'm at the point, like I could walk out, fucking drop the money on the floor and be like, fuck. It's not gonna affect me. I don't give a shit. So what I'm saying is do not gamble your life on stupidity,
Yeah.
on something that might happen, right?
Yeah.
Logic. Logic is your best friend.
Yeah.
Logic isn't sexy,
Yeah.
right? Logic's not sexy. Right, you sit there and you see that one chick and you're like, oh my God, you know, she's so sexy, right? I'm about to throw everything on it. It's not fucking logic.
Yeah.
Then she turns out to be a psycho.
And you come to your senses.
Or like Lil Wayne says, right?
Yeah.
But you know, at the end of the day, or even for Nikki sees that sexy, and all of a sudden, you know, it's gonna make those deals that they're gonna not make sense. You gotta apply the fucking logic,
Yeah.
right? And so you sit there and say, well, am I gonna gamble the whole ranch for this?
That's a success zombie right there.
That's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
You know what I call that? Getting the fucking 380, loading it, right?
Yeah.
It's a 6-shooter, loading all the bullets and pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
What do you expect's gonna happen?
Exactly.
Right? You know what I'm trying to say? It's
Yeah.
not loading the one bullet. So those are the things that I'm talking about, that logic.
Yeah.
Logic is not sexy.
Yeah.
Look, I look at people that have come to work for me, and they come in, they work, and all of a sudden they look over. You know, I'm in that big office, right? There's Suite A, we got Suite B. And they look over and say, well, that fucker's driving Lamborghinis. I think I got him there. You know, and it's funny, as I always tell the people, when I came to this game, I already came to this game rich. I wasn't a startup. I already came to the game. I was worldwide vice president, making $800,000 a year. I packed all that money away. So, you know, by the time I was Carson, before Carson, I was already a self-made millionaire. So when people are here fucking thinking you made me rich, you're a fucking idiot. I took my money into a business that I knew I could succeed in, invested it, and started it. So when I launched Harmonics, I wasn't there like those stories like, oh man, John, I had the mortgage lined up and I was nail biting. No, you know what I was doing? I was sitting in my 3,000 square foot house that I was paid for with my 4 cars outside, right? With $250,000 in the business account that I funded, waiting to make moves happen. With $1 million in POs going to flow second quarter. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
And so when I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I look at these guys and I laugh and I'm thinking, so you took the opportunity and you think you're making it rich. No, dumbass, I already came rich to the game.
Yeah.
But what always makes me laugh, when I worked for the Salazars or I worked for the Finchers, I was a broke-ass kid that came in with a dream. I never counted their money. I wasn't in Bill Fincher's Gulfstream and be like, well, I deserve this fucking Gulfstream. But when I rolled up to Texas and he had a 21,000 square foot mansion, right? One of my first cars that he put out was this Ferrari. But I wasn't there like, oh, do I got the title of this car? You're like, no. I was like, holy shit, my value's fierce. You know what? I really appreciate this guy. And so I think the one thing about me, why I'm so successful, is I'm never counting anyone's money, and I don't have that sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Whatever I fucking kill. You know what I told the Salazar brothers when I worked for them? I was so gracious when they hired me and gave me that opportunity that I said, you know what? You will never have to go down into your company account and ever pay me for my time. I used to close 10 to $12 million a year for them. Every fucking year. No one has ever paid my salary in their entire history. Think about that.
I love it. I love it.
1 year would have paid for the entire time I was there. But the thing about it is I got pride. And I tell people this, you know what I got? I got stamina. I got that killer instinct. Whether it's fucking weeds or playing basketball or cutting wood. I'm not afraid of the pandemic and all the shit that people are talking about. We're living in this fear. I'm not going to come out of the cocoon. What are you going to do? Take this shit by the balls. Take your health. Take your vitamin B. Take your vitamin C. Prepare yourself.
Yes.
Right? Prepare the war machine. Well-prepared soldiers don't die in war. It's the unprepared that die in war.
Yeah.
And so, ultimately, in finances, Nikki, in business or whatever, you prepare yourself. Are you going to take a hit? Fuck yeah, we're going to take a hit. Do we got bad days? Yeah, we got bad days. Is there days that I don't want to get up? Yeah, I don't want to get up. But I get up. I might be dragging half-ass, but I'll tell you what. My half-ass is still better than half the fuckers 110% out here.
Yeah, because of what you do on your days, you're going 100.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, you got to understand your stamina. And so, like, if you're going hard and you do get sick or you do get the flu and your empire's going to fall because you can't get there when your empire's fucked up or anything you're doing in life. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's that stability of what we're talking about. I got banks calling me right now trying to throw money at me. Like, throw money at me. Oh, Mr. Vito, we got this happy line of credit loan on this. You want to sign up? No. What do you do with the money I got stored with you guys? Where's the interest rate? We're all screwed. But this is what I'm talking about. That I go from the approach of I learned to live off a glass of water, but every other glass of water, I'm storing in my storage tank. You understand what I mean?
Yep.
So if I get a glass of water a day, learn to live off half that glass of water or a third. You're storing that other one. And then you take, if you want to get ballsy, you take that third and you invest in the markets and do that. You know what I'm doing with the third? I'm not going to lie to anybody. I'm taking about 30% of that third and storing it, and then the other 60%, 70% I'm screwing off.
Video
I'm buying
poker.
shit, I'm fucking video pokering it. I'm buying Lambos, I'm buying gold, I'm buying jewelry, I'm just what I do. And I don't care, right? But you see what I'm trying to tell you? That's the kind of shit that I'm talking about. But guess what? I made that decision when I was 17 years old that I didn't want to be cool and having 10 kids out there and Thea's cool because the girl's pregnant. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I went down to Walgreens and bought the box of condoms. I wasn't waiting for them to hand them out to me. It's a fucking handout. I took my destiny in control, right? I said, I don't gonna have no babies. I'm not gonna get married early. I'm not gonna have that stress. I don't want my kids growing up in poverty. Oh, Dad, can I get the Jordans? Oh, no, you can't get the Jordans, son, because this. No, fuck that. If you start to live life with those limitations, this morning I put a post, and I'm always fucking with this, is, you know, limitless is the way you live, the YM way. because I don't want those limitations. Doesn't mean you gotta be having Lamborghinis or Bugattis or Bentleys or any of that shit. What I'm talking about is that you don't want to limit. I like what I wanted to use. I like to use John on this one. He's on a teacher's salary, and he saved the money for his son's event. And he says, you know what? I was gonna get and go on vacation because they can't go, but I said save it. So how does John save it, but the rest of you fuckers can't save it? The guys I know at San Diego National Labs and gals, right? That I know are making more than the teacher salary, but they can't make COVID hit and they're losing their houses.
Yeah.
How do you explain that to me?
Can't. You know, it's kind of a paradigm. It's a money blueprint, and that's something I wanted to bring up too. Is like I feel that's where a lot of people adopt money blueprints of people that they didn't know. Like for me, for instance, I didn't have anything in my family to go off of. You know, I didn't have anything of any type of money pattern or how to save money or make money or anything like that. So I've rewritten my money blueprint by learning differently. And that's something that I saw because I saw what I didn't want, so what I did want. But it kind of reminds me of like an analogy of, I spoke about this morning to my friend John, is, okay, we grow a plant. We use the correct soil. We learn how to do it. But what about when the plant fruits? Do you know how to properly prune it? There's ways that you can take fruit off of it and it never grow again. Mm-hmm. And so like learning how to properly prune your winnings is like really where I'm at, like learning. Like,
so let's think about this, right? I'm gonna give you guys a test here.
Oh.
How smart do you think a tiger is? When you gauge it up to a human brain.
I mean, it's not even.
What do you think the average? What do you think the average aptitude test for like just the average human? People test that. Like let's say ACT status. What do you think the average is?
I have no idea.
What do you think, John? The average? John knows.
About 18.
Oh, it's a
16.
ACT?
Isn't
You
it
said 16?
Yeah.
Oh no, well, you figure UNM, the minimum is 19 to get in, so probably right around there.
Yeah. See what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, so if a tiger took an ACT, what would he score?
Zero? I don't know. Zero.
Fucking zero.
Man, they kind of like zero.
This is what I'm going to this, right? Okay, let's think about this. Okay? Let's get a fox. Fox is witty as fuck, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we take a fox. They tell him take an ACT. What's he gonna get?
Probably one.
He's not gonna score that, right?
He's gonna figure out how to write something down.
But what's this? Okay, but let's take a fucking human and put you in the Asian jungle. And the tiger says, "Now I want you to survive." What are you gonna score?
I guess it depends on your survival skills.
Okay, now we're getting to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll score low until you eventually figure it out.
Oh,
I don't know why this makes me nervous.
well, let's think about this. This is okay. You're out there. How do you know you're gonna score high in the Tigers ACT?
I mean, you're either gonna live or you're gonna die.
Yeah, but like you're gonna live or die in a minute, overnight. What do you think?
If you survive in the long run,
How well you're
How
prepared.
long do you think you're gonna like? Give me a time. Give me a time frame. Time period.
shoot, I don't know, dude. What do you think? Are you talking me as an individual? I'm gonna survive, dude.
Well, I'm gonna
Are you going to be able to hunt as effectively as a tiger?
Oh, not at all. No, we're not built for that.
And I think, and I was looking at the quote that I think you're alluding to, is that Einstein says that if you ask a fish and you test him on climbing a tree, he's going to fail every
This
single
is the
time.
craziest fucking thing. I didn't even read that quote. Honestly, I swear, it
You
came
just-
from my brain. And this is what I want. This is what I want to show you guys. But I love that he said that. So geniuses think alike, man. I'm fucking throwing myself Einstein. So what I'm talking about is adaptability. And knowing, can you adapt? You throw the fucking jet in the water, I'm fucking toast. I can't swim. I'm gonna survive for seconds, I'm fucked. Now, we all get thrown in the pool, you two fuckers are gonna make it. John's gonna make it. You know how to swim, John?
I'm a swim instructor.
Okay, he's a swim instructor. But we drop us in the fucking Atlantic Ocean. We're gonna last a little bit less, right? And I'm still gonna go down just as fucking fast. So what you can't know is that I'm going down just as fast, whether it's in the pool or the electric ocean. It's all the same to me. Right?
We'll put you in the kiddie pool, dude.
Yeah.
Down in the fucking kiddie pool. I'm still going down alone. Okay? Now let's think about this. Now let's say we go to Yellowstone Lake and we're all fishing, and it's approaching December, and we all fall in fucking Yellowstone water. And the water's close to freezing temperature.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are gonna go into hypothermia real quick, right? I'm still gonna go fucking down, but I can stand the cold because I trained to those levels. What I'm talking about here, the reason I'm going down this path, right, is ultimately people get into an environment that they were never meant to be graded on, and of course they're not gonna fucking succeed. And so, when you look at animals, animals are smart as shit. The tiger's not gonna put himself in the savannah. His breed's not even gonna survive. They would have said, I'm not gonna be in this fucking desert, I'm out, versus like a lion. Or versus like a mountain gorilla. A mountain gorilla is not gonna be out there in the savannah, they're gonna be in the high jungle. And so what you gotta understand, there's only certain species that cross, like crocs, right? They're brainless, they cross all over from ocean croc, a saltwater croc, to a freshwater, and how they evolve. And this is what I'm talking about. Ultimately, they got nothing to lose, right? They've been prehistoric. So what I'm telling you is this. Put yourself in an environment that you know you're going to have a shot at fucking succeeding in. So never get in a business that you don't know, because the probability of you failing is going to be fucking high. Mm-hmm. With the get rich quick or any of that shit. And so that's what I'm trying, that's what I was trying to come in the jungle.
Makes sense.
And so ultimately, if your personality, you're not going to be able to adapt to the environment, whether it's fucking New York or a small town or what it is. That's why there's people in small towns that have become very successful in their small towns, because they know their limitations. I don't call it limitations. You know what I call it? I call it waking up in the fucking morning and being realistic with yourself. That's what you need to focus on. So it goes back to stamina. Am I going to get out there and start trying to run with fucking Cameron Cervantes on long distance running? No, that's fucking moronic. I'm 230 pounds, I'm not even built for that. But am I going to fucking train to take him on a sprint? Absolutely. You see what I'm trying to say? So I'm going to play a game where the advantage is in my book, or where I think it is, or where I could do best.
Put yourself in an environment where you can be successful rather than jumping into, like, your weakness is the water, so you're not going to jump in the ocean
It's
and say, hey,
calculated
follow
risk
me.
is exactly what it is.
We're both walking down the street and I take the shirt off and we're going to me and John, they're going to be like, oh fuck, the Jen's going to swim and I don't know how to swim, and John's the instructor, and he starts doing all kinds of shit. I set myself up for failure. Do you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
Don't get in the water.
Don't get in the fucking water.
Just get a good tan on, dude. On the
Just get a
side.
good tan on, that's it. But if I put my fucking life jacket on, I'm like a killer whale.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
there's things in life that people are sitting there like, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that, or this, or what do you think I should do? No. Wake up and say, you know what, God? What's my God-given talent? What's my fucking God-given talent? And I promise you, if you sit there and meditate hard enough, and you shut your mouth, and shut your mind, and you really think, the answer will come to you. You know why? I know. Because I asked this question. I didn't pop out the womb successful.
Yeah.
I had a lot of questions in my head, right?
Yeah.
So, Nikki, I know we got off topic, but
No, I loved it. I
but
loved
but
it.
when we didn't get off the topic, what I want to say is the multiple streams of bullshit. Tigers do what tigers do best, right? Tigers do not get out there trying to be a fucking lion or all that. So if you're gonna get assets, absolutely, because this is a mathematical figure, and you can do this. What's your cash value today? So let's give an example. If I took $100 20 years ago, $100 didn't change. Same fucking $100. But what I could buy 20 years ago, or let's go back 100 years ago. $100 is $100. But what I could buy with $100 100 years ago versus today, the multiplier is huge. I would say probably 1,000%. So this is what we're saying. If we practice our hustle, and I'm not gonna use that word, fuck, I said I'm gonna use this word, our craft. and we buy and we mix our craft and we make a lot of money. This is my mistake, and that's what I should have done earlier when I was Carson's age. Made a lot of money, but I should have bought assets that yielded me stuff, not liabilities, not multiple streams of income. So if I would have come in, and then look at this, you also want to research. So let's do this example. If I would have come out in 2005 with all the money I made and started buying fucking real estate in 2005, would that have been smart?
No. When the market, when the market,
No,
it was at its
market
ultimate
crashed
high.
in 2000.
It was at its high there.
With the highest.
Yeah.
So all those
you would
fucking
have
assets
lost
I bought in
forever.
05 will not even catch up today.
At all.
Yeah.
So do you understand what I mean? But if I understand real estate, I would have looked at the trends and said, we're at the fucking high.
Yeah.
But you see what I'm trying to say? But what do they do to these ball players? You get all this money, well, you're not going to make this money, but they don't have the money because they believe some doodad. But when I look at stocks, do you think I need a stockbroker to sit down and tell me about stocks? No. I know about the 52 weeks low. I do statistical mathematics. I look at trends. I can plot the fucking data. I literally write my own spreadsheet. By the time I know, I'll tell you what it is. All my stocks are on top. I don't need some dumbass that doesn't know what's going on, is looking at a computer, talking to a nerd, to say, hey, what do you think about this? And then start to sell you on it. That's all stockbrokers back at the, like Wolf of Wall Street did. No, I don't need anyone to tell me. I got empirical data. So Nikki, so the multiple streams of income, like this bullshit, no, stick in what you know. So like, but if someone came to you and said, you know what, I got a guitar repair shop and I know it's showing this and I'm this, and you bought into it, and they need to buy it, well, that's a smart buy because you'll be able to control it. If that guy falls out, you'll be able to step in, get the right management, and do it. But never get into something that you don't know.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that you're going to pull up that quote, John. I've never read that quote before. That's badass.
Yeah.
But it's that inline
Well,
thinking.
it's the same mentality and it's logical, but I mean that's and it's an argument for education. Just because a kid can't sit in a desk and conform to those structures doesn't mean that they're not a genius or they don't have the ability. There are tons, and that I've used that quote before. I mean, the way our testing is set up, classrooms and classes, it's all set up so that it's just that certain peg fits in that certain hole. But there are plenty of others that have genius that are capable of being able to find their way, find their way. And if they have the passion, and Malcolm Gladwell in his book Outliers, he calls it 10,000 hours. If you put something 10,000 hours into a craft, you become that expert in it. So I can think about the 10,000 hours that I put into coaching. I put in 10,000 hours easily. So that's why now you talk about an eye. Very few people have the eye that I have when it comes to seeing a game, diagnosing something instantly, and seeing, okay, that person stepped with the incorrect foot, and this person didn't go here, or this person right away didn't see these things. And it's funny because like my youngest one's brilliant, but he still doesn't have the eye because he doesn't have 10,000 hours behind that eye. Doesn't mean that he isn't smart. It just, you have to develop those things. And that whole quote of testing a fish to climb a tree, well, it's always going to fail. Doesn't mean that fish isn't amazing, or that tiger or whoever. You have to find that right environment to put yourself into to see. Now, do you have the passion to work towards your craft?
And you can have like a multiple gun and use that saltwater croc, right?
Oh, yeah.
The 8 times out of 10, if a croc catches tigers can swim like a mother. People don't know that, right? Mm-hmm. But 8 times out of 10, if a fucking croc catches a tiger in the water,
done.
It's done, right? It wins 8 times out of 10. But if a tiger catches a croc on land, it's fucking 8 times. You see what I'm trying to tell you?
Absolutely.
So that's what I tell people. I'm a fucking tiger. So when I get out of my game and I see a saltwater croc, I'm out of the water. Don't let the ego or the pride take you to a level where you start making bad decisions. It's that whole thing, live to fight another day, and that's what most people don't know how to do.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna pick a fight with Jack, make sure it's by the water. Push him in the water.
Yeah, fuck.
And then that's
Push
when you
him in the
fight.
water first, yeah.
All of it's made me feel good because I've always, I did talk about multiple streams of income, but if I sum up what I do, I'm a creative genius, and that's my source. And so it really was like a validation for me.
So
that,
you find different assets that have to do with those.
I'm just
your craft.
I'm just creative, and I get paid for my creativity, no matter what paintbrush I use.
Yes. Yes.
So it was a validation to me, that I'm exactly at the moment where I need to be because I'm just using the right paintbrushes.
And the thing about it for you, Nikki, look, what I think most people say is that you have multiple one or two things you're good at that people are hiring you for. You could do construction management. You have the creative eye, and you're doing things that are within that what I call that subset that you can be multiple streams of income. Let's look at technology. My claim to fame is being a design engineer architect, which is they're far and few, super complex, right? But then I have the MSP, Managed Service Provider Division, and we dominate. And people are like, how do you guys just manage the networks and they don't die? Well, I'm used to conducting heart surgery all the time. So I know what to tell the patient and what to give them, so we never have to give them heart surgery. So do you see the advantage?
Yeah.
So I have those two multiple streams of income that come into the company, the MSP versus in the design build. But do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Sometimes you might have to evolve, but what I'm talking about, but I come from that high level down.
Yeah.
So if you have that high level production that you understand and you touched it, you can touch all those facets and be very successful. But I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people get their hobbies and they think I'm gonna make money at this, and they got that one paycheck for $500 and they're fucking broke. And
Yeah.
I left my day job to follow my passion, and you're broke. That's dumb as shit,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah,
you can't-
that's totally against it.
Yeah.
If you've not made at least $25,000 in your passions, keep your day job. If you haven't made $25,000, then you're gonna hit a brick wall.
Well, a lot of people, for even, kids will ask me how I got started and everything, and I still kept my day job while I was selling real estate until that income was at least equal to what I was producing at Fidelity. And I didn't leave until then, and I had to put in the hours all day, and they worked with me on my schedule. I moved my schedule up sooner, so I got off earlier, and then I had more time to work in the evenings, and then I worked on weekends too. Did it suck? Yeah. But it put me in the position, and even like now, I branched off with my team, and I still have enough money to go out and buy my signs, buy marketing gear, buy all this stuff. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna jump into it because it seems right. You have to be well prepared for everything you do, because then if not, you're setting yourself up for failure in that exact thing.
Who do you think told him not to give his day job up before he made the money? Huh?
My mom did too, actually,
Hey.
but it was Jack and my mom.
Yeah, I was on his ass. He was gonna jump ship, dude. He was almost jumping head first in this basketball game, and I said, that's a fucking bad choice. No, he's kicked out. But you see what I'm trying to say? You just can't, that doesn't make any sense. But how many people do that shit?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
true.
And so at the end of the day, the probability of you failing just gets higher.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you really don't know what you're getting into, you don't know the cost that's going to come with it. What's your overhead? What materials do you need? How are you going to market to clients? How are you going to get, you know what I mean? All that stuff.
But you know even crazier than that? People don't even know what their personal overhead is.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what's
They
even
don't know that
sadder.
either.
I'm like, have you ever plotted your personal overhead? Have you ever plotted your, John, have you done it?
Oh yeah, what it takes for me to operate each month. Yes.
But do you actually have it to what it costs to operate based on your lifestyle, what you like today?
It's been easier now to save money now because you don't get to go out and do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And spend things, but yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no, what you can do.
So I'll tell you a funny story. And I know a lot of guys that are like, couples that start off and they're like DPs, and then they jump off their day job, they start a business and they end up divorced, and like, what the hell happened, right? And what I tell people is when you're going to get off your day job to follow your passion, or so-called your newfound art, is do you have enough saved in the bank for 1 year? I like 2 years, but I'm more conservative. But 1 year, 1.5, and 2 years to sustain how you're living now. And that's fucking eating shrimp cocktail every time you go out. That we're not talking about this. And do you have that laid out? Because if you don't, you'll start to make a lot of bad decisions when you can't live the way you are, because you're gonna have those shitty days. So right, and this is a funny story. So guys come in, you're juiced, and I don't know what the high end shit is, but I'm just gonna say in beer. Say you're used to drinking Corona. I don't know if Corona's big time, but it was back in my day. Right? But you're fucking drinking that Schlitz. And so are you really getting the beer effect? No, you're pissed off, right? Because you can't buy the Corona. So what I'm saying is that in those moments when you gotta lean back and drink that Corona, you can't drink it. So you're drinking Schlitz and saying, "Oh fuck, did I make the bad decision because I was drinking Schlitz?" So you're not able to actually reward yourself with the small shit that you were doing when you had your day job.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that saved, stay your ass in your day job.
Yeah. It's true.
Because there's going to be that 0.1% that make it. And I don't like to suffer it. I don't know. Carson, he wasn't buying socks and all kinds of shit, but I ain't doing that shit.
I was
Right.
there. I knew how to save. That's
Yeah.
one thing about me. I could save money.
See, so if
I'll
you,
just survive. That's
Yeah.
all I need to do. Just survive.
yeah.
And I'm good.
But a lot of people don't have that discipline,
Yeah.
right? Very far few people can. I could tell you, I had that very early on, military days, but I don't have that now. Like I can't do that. That'd be like dying in the poverty mindset. If I had to, I'll fucking do it, but I ain't gonna want to do it. You
After
know-
last year, I think I blame it on you though. Yeah, it's a lot different now.
You know what I'm trying to tell you? It's a little hard to go back and say.
now I'm missing like going and getting a penthouse in Vegas or something.
Yeah,
You know.
you know what I'm trying to say? so there's just no way. And so I think that there's too much bullshitters out there talking about they make entrepreneurship like sexy. Entrepreneurship is not sexy. It's hard fucking work.
It is.
There is no sexiness to it, trust me.
It's like boxing. I didn't have a team to go off of. You know, here I was like, you know, an MVP, alternating basketball player. And when I went into boxing, it was either I was good or I wasn't. And my
Yeah.
mom and my grandpa went to one fight. They went to my second fight. And I thought I was the toughest person because, you know, our coach treated us like pit bulls. And he's like, she could fight anybody. And I got in the ring, you know, conditioning,
Oh,
you know.
shit.
Yeah, I mean, I learned quick.
Yeah.
When that girl hit me, I seen stars, and I seen the look on my family's face. They never went to a fight. I fought for 4.5 years in the ring. I was a Golden Glove boxer, you know, and it was my moment that says, I don't have a team. Either I'm going to be good or not. But you know what I did? Is I trained harder. I was like, okay, conditioning. I ran. When people stopped running, I ran further. When people left the gym, I trained harder because I could not fathom the thought of not being good at it. Because I was really good at street fighting, but I wasn't good at boxing. So what did I do?
But imagine what we just touched on.
Yeah.
Stamina.
Exactly.
How crazy is that, right?
It's
the
the number
stamina,
one
all the
thing,
same stuff.
You know, and even now
Relates
with
to
what I'm
everything.
doing, it's just like I don't think you realize how much you impact me. See, I'm not just someone that just takes notes down. I have journals of like for the past 15 years of stuff that I've done. But the difference between this, and I can say one of my friends, Tasha Martinez, she applied everything I taught her. She dug in her own hole. She went on her own journey, but she applied. And I will apply anything and everything you teach me until I consume it. You know, I look back at a post from 10 years ago and I'm like, I've been killing the mindset game forever, but I didn't know what that meant. I didn't grasp that, and now I'm living it. But I will apply everything. When I'm working out, like even to the way I train now, I mean, it's pure, you know, I feel it. And every muscle of my body, I can activate it. I'm alive. And then when I'm doing my creative stuff, I'm just in it. And there was a difference because I'm very ADHD. I'm like, you know, next thing you know, I'm working on the next project and all this stuff.
Yeah.
But now I'm finessing things. And that's the biggest thing I try to teach my niece. You know, I'm like, when you're doing an art piece, she'll get the paint and she'll get all the brushes and she makes a big old mess and the painting's never finished. And I said, no, I was like, finesse it, finish it, you know, finish it.
Yeah, put that love in it. Put
Yeah.
that love in it.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. It's like, I do that with anything, even with my friends now, you know?
Well, you
I try to
might-
finesse it.
You imagine like Carson started the team, and they come up to him and he's like, "Hey, dude, I need some signs," and he's like, "You know, I'm gonna work on that." What would people say, dude? What would the team say?
You're a
Just,
joke.
You're a fucking joke, right?
Yeah.
What are the basic shit you gotta have? You gotta have those signs. You can't have one sign. You gotta be ready. That's
Oh,
like
yeah,
that's
I'm
like going to
stocked
more no
up.
bullets.
Those are
Right?
freaking $1,500 to sign to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. You got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
But when people come in and say, "I want to do real estate like Carson," I laugh my ass off because I'm saying, dude, "Fucking, you don't even come on, put the one ditch in."
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, to me, it's like this, right?
It's easy to say things 'cause it's free to do it.
But even for me, that's far fetched. So that's why I want to reiterate back what you're telling me about. So when people tell me, when you're telling me the 500 million, that's fucking not even in the stratosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got the people say, "I want to be where Carson's at tomorrow," that's not even in the fucking.
Mm-hmm.
At least that you can see it in the clouds, but that's still not attainable.
Yeah.
That's still fucking high.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a ladder walk. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
So
No,
I
it's
guess,
taking years and years of
you see what
different
I'm trying to
things.
say? So that's why I don't like that whole thing. Like, oh, we're gonna come in, I'm gonna be $500 million. It's just fucking whack.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the first, and I always tell people this: the first $25,000 is the hardest, right? Then $60,000 is kind of weird. You hit the 60,000 mark, you save $60,000, you got 25,000 to checking account. Then you hit 100. Once you save $100,000, then it's like holy shit, right? You still got that 25,000 there. I use that to market. It goes to about 40. Once you hit $200,000, it's crazy. From 250,000 to $1 million, it's 250,000 to about $500,000. I remember that was a huge stretch. That 500 to $1 million, it's fucking forever. It's like a light year shit. Once you hit $1 million, it's you can hit it over and over again. That one. Once you hit 2 or 3, then that's crazy. Once you hit 10 million, then you can fluctuate from 10 to 40 pretty easily. But it's hard to break that 40 million, that platform. You know what I'm trying to tell you? So I think that when you look at those retrospectives, because I'm trying to get there, I'm like, how the fuck? It doesn't make any sense. And you can make bad moves. But if you start to chase that number incorrectly, you'll make bad decisions and you'll take major losses. How do I
You'll
know?
probably give up too.
I've taken a fucking ass kicking. I took such a financial ass kicking on an investment because I wanted to just like to get rich. It wasn't get rich quick, but it was like I call it the steroids of business. And I happened to be that 3%. You had the adverse effect. But was it a shot to the heart or a major artery? No. Did it hurt? Yes. Is there a big wound? Yes. When I look at that fuck, yeah, it's kind of like when you burn your arm really bad, you're like, fuck, I gotta wear a sleeve over. That's the kind of burn I got. But what I call that is a reminder. But look at this. I have all the logic. I'm preaching to you guys about the fucking crock. Don't get in the water. Don't do this. I still fucking did it. You see what I'm trying to say? So one, you don't want to be too hard on yourself, but don't get out there and do something that's going to be so catastrophic. And this is one of the first things I shared with him was that Oprah. And I think God put that I don't even watch TV, right? But Oprah's there interviewing all these multi-millionaires and talking about how they lost all their wealth to get back to that one spot when they hit the wealth. And I was always thinking in my mind like, well, fuck. All I wanted was a 2,000 square foot house, a lifted truck, and a Corvette. And if I got that, I was killing it. So if I surpassed that, I was going to get greedy. You know what I'm trying to say? So you got to be careful when you start to make those deals in your mind and say, this is what I want. And you hit it, and all of a sudden,
Your appetite grows.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's okay for the appetite to grow. But ultimately, with your appetite, your stamina has to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Because then you see something and you're like, oh, if I jump in the water with that croc for 5 seconds, I could do it. And then it gets you. You know what I mean? But you need to know the risk.
You got to know the risk.
And that's why for me, like when we start talking about multiple streams of income, all the money that I would put aside or invest in other things, I'm willing to lose.
Yeah.
100% willing to burn it.
It's because
And that's like,
it's play money.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even like this guy likes video poker. Sometimes I'll give him money and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to give it to you as if you're keeping it.
And the one time
I didn't do it, he hits a jackpot and I was like, mother.
But who did him a solid, dude? I gave him his money back.
Oh yeah, when he hit the next jackpot, yeah, he did.
I gave him his money, dude. I said, you know what? Talk about that. You think you've done that for me? I don't fucking know, man.
I would have. Come on.
Like, you know what? No, he would have. He's a good dude. I give him shit. I give him shit.
I just play blackjack now.
Yeah.
I'm done with that
I've
stuff.
always had good luck. I hate that word because I don't believe in luck, but I mean, I don't
Nikki, that
really
one's
gamble.
luck. When you fucking
Blackjack
gamble,
is a good story
But-
or a good way to talk about we're getting greedy.
But I don't go to the casino. Okay, 'cause I
100%.
grew up, I don't go to the casino and say like, oh, I need money or, oh, and I've seen people do the sign of the cross and some weird like tapping
Yeah,
on
they
the
do some weird
machine.
stuff.
I want a machine that like makes noise and spins. I want the experience, And I remember going and I accidentally hit max bet and I was just sitting there and I look and I'm like, oh, I want $2,000, And because I didn't go there with that lack
Yeah.
of, and I mean that goes across the board with manifestation.
Yeah.
If you have the feeling of need or want, in a sense, you will always need and want. I come always to the floor with gratitude. Like every day I count my blessings. Like even to the smallest thing. I told Jack, I was like, man, I bought an RV. It might not be good to you, but I bought an RV and I slept in it last night.
you know what's funny? She said it might be good for me. She doesn't even know what kind of RVs I like. What if that had been the top of my
You don't
mountain?
like no RVs,
She was
dude.
making-
You ain't going
But
camping,
it was
dude.
monumental for me because it was something I've always wanted.
No,
you know,
yeah.
like it was a manifestation.
No, it's a big
and
deal.
maybe it was, but see, anybody can look at it any way. But the way I felt and the way I felt alive, and let me tell you, for like 2 months, I have not. Let's just take it back from the before COVID. I have not slept more than 2 hours a night. You can ask anybody that's around me. I can't sleep. I have just like a fire in my soul. Like there's something there. Like it's almost like Jumanji. I can hear the fucking heartbeat going, right? I'm like, I need to be somewhere. Like something's activating inside of me,
Yeah.
right? Well, when I bought the RV, it needs tires. I didn't give a. I drove it straight to my grandpa's. I parked it in the front yard. It's leaning sideways because it's on his gravel. And I just sat in there. I was editing photos. I was like, this is my sacred space. Like no one there. I slept from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day, out cold. I probably drooled. I was just done. But it was like my moment of counting that winning, right? I counted that winning, and I took that moment to really just, I needed that. Like it was just, I don't know, I can't explain it. So when I was so excited to tell Jack, I'm like, this is kind of funny because it's not like, hey man, I bought a Lamborghini. I bought like a 1981 RV that is in mint condition. But it was a monumental
Yeah.
thing for me because
Heck yeah.
it was a bucket list thing.
But you know, the thing is, Nikki, the thing is about it is like when you hit that success, your soul and your body was able to rest. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I was gonna whoop your ass. I was gonna put you to sleep. Don't do that 2-hour bullshit. You know, ultimately, you need to sleep a minimal of 7 to 8 hours, period.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna fuck up your body. Needs to regenerate your temple. You need to protect it. Nutrition and sleep are, geez,
Yeah.
the biggest thing in life. Because the rest of the shit's gonna just screw you up. I know guys that honestly like they used to bodybuild and like to do extracurricular activities. Right? I'm not gonna go in depth and shit, but they wouldn't sleep and they wouldn't make those gains. And now Al knew right. All these fuckers is called burning candles at both ends of the stick. And the reason they wouldn't make the gains, and I mean these guys are doing every fucking drug under the sun, from the enhancement drugs to the upper drugs to the sleepy drugs, this. But ultimately, your body needs to rest.
Yeah.
And your brain
Yeah,
needs
it's got
to
too
rest,
much going on.
and so you just can't do it that way. So
I didn't have the sacred space for that though.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was the thing is
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
super
Now you do.
empathic, and so I could hear anything. And a lot of people don't know this, but my nana recently, she fell and she was on the floor for 2 days, and it hurt my soul knowing
Jeez.
that I was calling her and couldn't get a hold of her.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking she went out to a walk. Out of all my damn cousins and
Yeah.
everybody that she raised, who showed up? I did. She lied to the hospital. She said I was her caregiver and I lived with her. They just dropped her off in the ambulance on her couch. She couldn't even get up by herself. But guess what? I showed up. She's my great aunt. I'm not even like a grandchild. I showed up and I went there. And I was like feeding her, doing anything that I could do to help her get to her thing. And a lot of people don't even really know like half the stuff I do.
Right.
But every time because I contracted this other nursing company and I've been like stacking people and all this stuff because I'm always stacking the cash. That's just the way I am. And I'd finally get to a point to fall asleep, and she would scream my name, Nicole, and like I would wake up like, oh my god, like trial to trauma because she outraised me. But I helped her, and so when I got that RV, the only noise I was hearing was birds. There was no one in my sacred space to bother me. And so I keep saying I'm homesick because I am. When I was in Arizona, my mom lost our childhood home. So my mom moved and I wanted to go home, but I didn't even know what home was.
Yeah.
It was such a disconnect. And ever since that happened, I've never known where home is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird. It's a weird feeling, and it's just like,
But it's a psyche block for you. At the end of the day, Nikki, I think with you is like that's what's created that nomadic kind of mentality in you. So your whole thing is it's really saying I had such a tremendous loss. I don't want to feel what it feels like again. So fuck it, I don't want to have a home. But that's not good because ultimately you have to have that sacred space.
Yep.
And it's not about what your mom feeling because you're a whole different animal, right?
Yeah.
And I think so much of us we let our past really dictate what our future is going to be because this one time we felt this. And I use the famous line of this. I fucking love fried chicken, right? Everyone knows I love fried chicken. If I had a bad set of fried chicken and I fucking got food poisoning on fried chicken once, I'm not going to stop eating fried chicken for the rest of my life. It's that one bad experience, but I'm not going to let it stop from doing that. And that goes for everything. That's relationships. That's, business transactions. I'm not going to take that big ass kicking and then say, you know what? I'm throwing in the fucking towel. Carson gets the call. I'm liquidating everything. I'm just gonna hide in the corner like this, like I'm not doing it. You know what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah.
But ultimately, you cannot let those things really affect you that deep, and you just gotta resolve them and just move on with .com.
Yep.
Because I think ultimately for me, what I want the most for you is you hit that success, but that you own your own home. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what size it is. It could be 200 square feet, 300, 5, 15, 15,000. It doesn't matter. But that's one of the most sacred things for yourself and accomplishments that you need in your life. And I think especially for you.
Yeah,
Because
I'm telling you, the floodgates are opening for me right now. It might not be big, but for me to have my own space, shit, I can take off to Red River for a weekend, and I could just work as hard as I'm working here, but in my own. It's something. It was like Jack keeps throwing stuff at me, and it's just like filling in those missing links, because I'm dangerous, and I know I am, and it's just those missing links that have been holding me back. But guess what? It's I don't know, the floodgates are opening for me, and because for a lot of reasons, it's time. I'm prepared this time. Opportunities come to me and I'm ready. I was headed back to Santa Fe, and someone hit me up saying that there was a designer in town, the photographer didn't show up. Can you show up? I was there in 30 minutes,
Heck
ready.
yeah.
Batteries charged, camera ready, bring in my fire,
strike
right?
while the iron's hot. Strike
Because-
while the iron's hot.
Exactly, because most of the time I've never had an issue with opportunity. My issue was always knowing which is the correct opportunity. So now that I've kind of already delegated that and understood that, it's a little dangerous for me, because now I'm my own opportunity. And no one, I don't have anybody to answer to. I'm complete control of my destiny, and before I let everybody's opinions and everybody's problems kind of hold me back, and like right now it's just I can feel something happening inside of me internally, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I mean, when I'm working out, you should have seen me the other day. I was running, and usually when I'm about to stop, I'm like, I'm gonna push harder, right? I push where I was about to pass out, because I wanted to push myself to level up.
Yeah.
And it's just such a beautiful thing to like not talk about it, but like I'm living that, and I don't go tell anybody my stuff anymore. I don't care. No one has to know anything I'm doing, because I'm doing it for me.
But
Exactly.
your success will speak for itself, Nikki. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't need to tell people shit.
Yeah.
Ultimately, regardless of what it is, your success is going to speak for you, right? I think Carson learned early on. I don't know, he was kind of like self-wired like that. But I think with you, dude, is like you knew like what opportunity to take and what not. And I think a lot of it had to do with just the way you were raised. Even though you were very similar, but for some reason you were like, that fucker's not going to pay dividends, so
Yeah.
I'm going to roll out of that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's why we've had that conversation on one of our podcasts before, where I just really feel like, I don't know, I think a lot of the experience, I just went through a lot at a very young, I grew up really fast. So, and I would just examine things so much. Like I'd be like, why does John have that red shirt on? Jack's wearing black shirt. And then I'd really look deep into that, or like, why is someone in the same parking lot driving a Honda and then there's a Lamborghini right next to it? Like, we're in the same life, but it's just like any little choice you make. So it's kind of been a flaw too for me, because I've always overthought opportunity and stuff too much. But
I mean,
it's also helps me. So
But you identified it, so it's not, it
Yeah.
hasn't held you back.
Yeah,
But
no.
if you would have held back, like where you're like drowning yourself in thought and not moving. And you're
Oh, yeah,
becoming
that's
just, like,
different.
paralysis. then you're fucked, right? But
Yeah.
you've more just driven yourself nuts and.
Yeah.
But I've kind of gained the trait more like Jack, to where it's like, okay, if I do this, like, what's the worst thing that's going to happen is here. And if that happens, like, I'm going to be good. And then I'll just move on. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's one thing that I think has really taken my career and success to the next level, is being able to know if I'm going to make a move, what's the instant loss on it?
Yeah.
And am I willing to take that? And if it's like, yeah, it's not really going to bother me too much, then I go all in with it. But if it's like, okay, this is going to be a detriment, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, do none of that, then it's like, hell no, I'm not mentally or financially ready to do that at all.
I don't know if I told you guys this story, but I kind of always created opportunity out of nothing. I remember borrowing flour, getting a recipe of cookies, and looking at what I needed, and then knocking on the neighbor's door. Can I borrow 2 eggs? Can I borrow flour? And then I
That's
go
called
back.
leverage.
Exactly, and I go back and I make cookies and sell the same neighbors. Here I got these cookies.
That's hilarious.
Because I knew that I wanted something, I had to get it myself. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that like it's just a, but now I analyze things.
But
like
you see the difference when he just called it, Nikki?
Yeah.
And that's where I want to get your business acumen. It's called leverage.
Leverage.
So you see how you use leverage for your advantage? So you leverage their own products, but you turn them into some masterpiece that they wanted. Right? If they don't put it together, they could have made the fun cookies, but most people won't do the work.
Yeah.
And so then they'll want to get the end result. And that's what I'm talking about, is that there's no selling the end result. That's the one thing you can't buy. You cannot walk in, door salesman, and say, you know what, Carson, you want to sign
I'll
up
sell
for
you
the
$10 million.
success, it's not going to work that way. Right?
You sell me 10 mil for 5,000, dude.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's not going to happen. You know what I'm trying to tell you? So I think that ultimately is that you can do that with commodities, but you can't do that with life.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to buy big time instead of not buying into a $10 million business, you're going to pay 15 mil. But then over the course of the years, you're going to make back your 15 mil, and then you have your 10 mil to gain.
And it's still going to take the course of the years to do it.
Take the
You know
course
what I
of the
mean?
years to do it.
Anything takes time.
But you see what I'm trying to tell you?
Yeah, absolutely.
But ultimately, it's really learning that aspect and really sticking to it.
Yeah. It's just right before the COVID happened, I know this might sound like not a lot to you guys, but I had $10,000 saved. Never in my life have I even had that as a not even working, in my career, being top of the game. And I was looking for land, and I did find a good piece of land because I was like, it's 5 acres, I could break it off and sell. And then I really tried to set back, really analyze stuff. And I'm like, okay, if I buy this land now, it's going to take more money to put a well, to get it surveyed, to get it clean. And I'm like, okay, what's the next logical step for me? So that's when I bought my Glowforge, because I knew that I was going to pay $6,000. I paid for everything. I bought my Glowforge. I bought stuff to make T-shirts, hats, anything that I already do. Right? I invested in my stuff because I knew that I was going to make a move that can make me more money.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm already more than halfway with my money back. But what did I do? I bought the RV. Right? Just being strategic, but 10 years ago, I would have bought the land and then been there, campfire,
Telling
barring
all your friends,
marshmallows,
come bring some pallets while the bonfire or
How
something.
how many times do people do fucking stupid shit like that?
No, they do.
All the time. And I'm like, dude, all you're doing is throwing a cup of water onto a fucking forest fire, right? The forest fire just evaporates your water, and you're like, oh.
Well, the problem too, I think, is a lot of people I don't know, you could say what you want with it, but I think for me, what's set me apart in knowing things to do and not to do is the way my mom brought me up is that if whatever I wanted, I had to pay for myself. I had to make my own money, I spent my own money, I did pretty much all of that. So then when I would go into something, I'd be like, oh shit, this guy wants to do this deal with me here. And then I'm like, okay, I could probably lose like $5,000. It took me 2 years to save $5,000. And I was probably 13 at that time. So I'm like, all right, is it worth it? But then I'd be like, okay, hell no, it's not. You know what I mean? Or then I would start, like I said, if you want to learn how to make $1 million, take someone who makes $1 million to lunch. So then I start networking with people like in corporate America or looking at dudes who are 25 and they're like, yeah, I'm out of college, I can't find a job. So then I'm like, okay, so what's going on here? I don't want to be like this, and then I don't want to be like this person, but I want to be like this person. So then I would just naturally follow and study what those people did.
Absolutely.
And just pretty much did the exact same thing,
But I think if I didn't meet you, you're like my, I don't want to call it financial, but I learn a lot from you in that fundamental thing, because I really would have just bought the land because that was on the bucket list.
Yeah.
I have this vision, and I have stuff that I have in the future, but it really shows I'm not afraid to see my flaws, and I'm not afraid to cheer on my my success.
Well, you got to identify both.
Yeah, and and it's just right now in my life is I have no karmic ground. I've already played my karmic. I've already paid my dues. I mean, I wasn't all that great of a big person. I remember going to my 10-year reunion, right? And I was nervous because, got in a lot of fights in high school. And I remember a group of classmates come up and she's like, you were so mean to me. And I'm looking at her like, damn, you're hot. I'm like, shit. And so I was so embarrassing.
He was like,
to
can we do a
hear
photo
that because
shoot?
I haven't been the greatest. But guess what? I've mensed that. I've mensed the stuff and I've done stuff. So right now in my life, it's I'm just full of blessings, man. I'm so blessed to every element. I like I told Jack, I can't wait till you get in my Lamborghini and say, remember when we had this conversation? Because it's gonna happen. Because I want it. It's my drive. You know, and I wanted a Lamborghini way before I even met him. He was just a part of my manifestation. You know, one of my friends used to always say, if you want something, like touch it. You know, I remember back in this is crazy because I wanted an RV so bad, right? I would go to the RV spots and pretend I had cash. I was going to pay cash then, and so they would take me serious. Like, I'm just like, and I would sit in those damn RVs in hot-ass Arizona, sweating, sitting behind the wheel, opening the fridge. Me and my ex-girlfriend would like take pictures of herself in the RV, and then all of a sudden, someone had a fifth wheel, right? And they're, are you interested in all this stuff? So next thing you know, I'm living in this RV park or this trailer park, the biggest freaking fifth wheel you could think of. But I had a motorcycle and a PT Cruiser. What the hell was I thinking, right? It was
No truck to pull it.
No truck to pull it. But it was a learning experience. But then it became a manifestation, right? So then I got smarter and I started better. And so like meeting you, it's just like if I'm going to like I got to sit in his damn demon.
Yeah.
I've never in my life experienced anything, and I've been in fast cars. I was like, oh, this is it. I'm feeling it. You know, I can feel it, and it's just like. It might not be that, but it's like I can live through people. I'm like, okay, there's energy vampires, and then there's energy. I don't even know what to call it. We have to come up with a name.
I get
for
what
it.
you're saying though.
Yeah, it's like how you said you see what people like. I study him. I study his body language. I look how he looks at you. I look how even to when he fixes. Well, I study everything, right? Because I'm absorbing, and I'm not afraid to be like, shit. Well, you know, maybe I need to work on this. I'm not kidding you. I wake up at 4 a.m. now. I've been doing 2.5 of when we talked about the 1.7 because I applied it. And when he saw me after he's seen me in a while, the results spoke.
The results spoke. So I said,
The results
shit.
spoke.
And that's
I
what
said,
it's
where's
about,
Nikki?
yeah.
I said, where's Nikki?
I'm going to be modeling on that Lambo.
You know, that's true. You know what's crazy is like when I saw Nikki walk in, I was like, holy shit, I want to say like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
Where's the other half of you? You know what I'm trying to say?
That's crazy.
But,
That's
but it
good.
was that crazy, right?
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's seeing that, I was like, okay, you know what? She put her money where her mouth is.
Just making the steps forward.
Because I hear so many fucking talkers in my life, dude. I mean, Carson knows. I just shake my head. Nikki, you haven't been around too much like got me, but I'm not. I'm like, I'm just agreeing with. Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah, he's yeah, cool, great.
Like, you know what I mean?
Because that's what it is.
I got worn out, baby. They wore me out. You know what I am?
Yeah.
I'm like the energy Federal Reserve Bank, baby. You know what I mean? But I gotta hold this. I don't want to go in the deficit like the Feds. So
Yeah.
I'm not handing out stimulus checks. Means energy checks here, I gotta hold them in tight.
Yep.
And I'm only putting into those people who are gonna pay that dividends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna pay back, and you want to do right by the world, but ultimately doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, is not being afraid to put in work, you know? I feel like let's just fast forward to the start of this whole thing. Is there's 24 hours in a day, and all these people want stuff, but they can't even dedicate an hour, you know? Someone was telling me, I don't got time for something. I'm like, I seen you on Facebook for like 5 hours, you know?
Right.
Like what, if you got time to scroll, you got time. I mean, do sit-ups while you're scrolling, if that's the case. And I don't ever do anything publicly. I'm like kind of a behind-the-scenes killer,
Yeah.
right? And I learned that because I used to be so public about it. Look at what I'm gonna do. And then you get all the naysayers, and you get all these like, energy that comes in from
Yeah.
other places. But now it's like I learned because I learned from legends, you know, I learn and I apply. And that's the biggest thing, is I feel like people are afraid to apply. And when I apply, I'm not comparing myself to you or to you.
Yeah.
I'm comparing to myself to who I was yesterday. And that's the biggest thing, is like I'm my own competition. You know, like shadow boxing, like getting in the mirror. I could see how good I was. I can see how clean I was. My boxing coach called me yesterday, and he was like, "Oh, you're still chubby, aren't you? Talking shit." And I said, "I'll knock you out." And he's like, "Oh," and I was like, "No, really." Like, I was like, because he always picked on me, you know, and he always gave me stuff. But he reminds me of you. It's like it's that tough love, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember training, and I would spar him because I'd beat up all his other fighters. And man, I remember he gave me a bloody nose, and then he hit me in my solar plex. All my air came out, and instead of crying, I uppercutted him. I didn't even know he had 2 fake front teeth. I knocked those things out. And I was like that. And he was like, oh, and like he got embarrassed. But I was like, I'm gonna level up. You know, you're teaching me. You're teaching
See,
me
John,
how to
you
fight.
know what I'm learning from this right here? I'm taking notes. I'm gonna wear my mouthpiece. You know what else? I'm gonna keep her in the distance. Yeah, that distance, baby.
Yeah.
It's just cool to like go back into the future, you know. Like when I first started AutoCAD, I remember sitting in the class and being like this. But when I ran into the teacher when I was in my 20s, and he saw me, and I was tipsy because I was visiting New
Full
Mexico and
disclosure.
just having fun. He looked at me, and this is where I'm at now. He's like, I'm ready to dress like a badass like I am. I'm ready to
Just to impress.
Exactly. And that's something I never lacked because I never had style because we never had money to buy the clothes.
Yeah.
I've been rocking black tank tops. Now I need to rock my own black tank top with my own logo on it, my own stuff. And I remember walking up to him and he looked at me like I was going to be like, oh, can I borrow $1? You know, Mr. Naranjo. And no, I walked up and I handed him my Fender business card and showed that I was a senior design drafter. And the look on his face was like, whoa. And I was like, thank you for giving me the opportunity to learn that I could get paid to do this because I've had one hell of a good time.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to even talk to my coach like that, and you know, opening up a boxing club and all this stuff, and being able to be at a level where, like, he helped me, but he also didn't define me.
You were the little
Right.
plant, and he put some water on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, John, hearing all this, before we wrap this up, what did you get out of this, John? What did you get out of this day's podcast? Any key topics?
No,
Points?
there were good things about it. Like, especially when you were talking about how, you know, even her question was about, you know, multiple streams of income. And then you talked about, well, you know what? And ultimately you got to the message of stay within what you know, make sure you understand that business 80% and just, you know, you're probably seeing it now, now with COVID, you see a lot of these restaurants that are failing because it's a lot of these people that jump in to a restaurant and it becomes an investment, but it's not something that they're a craft at, or they are able to sustain these weak times, So, but I mean, we talked to Michael, and Michael, through economic downturns, the riffraff always frickin' drowned, always drowned.
Just correction. Your
know.
correction is what's going on.
Yeah. So, seeing those parts, and seeing that part of it too, is that, because I look at it from the perspective that, I'm a couple of years from retiring as a teacher, and I'll go on and I'll do other things for another 10 years or so, and then really retire, but I look at it as how am I going to mentor my sons from the lessons that I kind of learned from you guys, because I don't have that business acumen or that type of sort of killer mentality. And you guys have that killer mentality of I'm here to win. And, but this helps me to teach my kids and teach other students that, but I've always sort of professed those things. I've never ever been
That's one thing I think I told Jack too. I was like, a lot of kids in school didn't like John as a teacher, but I was like, he was probably my favorite teacher. I tell people and they're like, what the heck? How do you like this guy? Because I was like, he's straight up, tells you how it is, and he teaches you real life stuff,
Yeah. Oh no, that's I just because I don't sugarcoat things and I don't bullshit. And but I've told kids too, and you know what, this isn't the place for you. Told their parents. And you want to see principals lose their shit when you tell a parent that school isn't the best place for a kid. Oh no. Or I've had principals lean back and say, shut up. And I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to happen. That ain't going to happen.
But look at this, John. You're still in the business because you know what you're doing. You remind me of one of the guys who works for me, Joe Gilliam. And I think at the end of the day, is like, you got to tell people the fucking truth. Yeah. You're in there and you're just wasting your time and you're wasting everyone's time. And the parents are like, well, Johnny here is going to do this. He ain't going to do shit, right, in that department. And I think sometimes we need that. And I think at the end of the day, if you're running a popularity contest, right, and that's what you want to do, then you're not bettering the fucking world. Because you're not calling that. Look, I'm going to tell you this right now. I know we have an order in place about the masks and businesses and all this, but I'm going to tell you this. If you're out there running, if you're out there training with the fucking mask, do your research. Within 15 minutes, you're causing so much damage to your body. And you do that over a long period of time, you're causing yourself some major fucking shit. So I'm telling you right now, if I'm on the open and I'm running 2 miles and I got my mask on, I'm fucking my shit up. So any dumbass that's saying keep your mask out there when you're running, and you just look at them over and say, well, how does that person look like? I'm not taking the advice. So what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, don't be a lemming, don't be a follower, do the right things, protect yourself, put the knowledge in your cane. And, you know, to wrap up today's podcast, again, what I was telling you guys is ultimately, you control your destiny. You have what it takes. Understand 80% of whatever you get into. And at the end of the day, be the master of your own domain and gauge it. Don't be afraid to not gauge your shit and say, how about I attain this? In sports, it's points. In business, it's money. But at the end of the day, we have to gauge ourselves and take those steps. And I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't getting to 500 million overnight. I don't give a shit. And if you do get to 500 million overnight, please call me or please put it in this fucking podcast because I want to get on your boat. And I got no shame to the game. And anybody else wants to run me a big check, I'll take it too. Because I ain't nick your car so you can buy my eye. I'll sell it to you. You know, so... Guys,
I want
we're
to
out.
see the eye patch, so I
Yeah.
hope someone buys it.
Well, no, I'm not going to give you my physical. I won't give you my physical eye, but that's a little too much there. I didn't say anything about the physical eye.
You'll still sell it,
No, I
dude.
won't sell the eye, man. Come on, man. You're not tired. So, let's keep our shit real. See you guys next Tuesday.
Cool.
We're out.
Thanks, guys.
Yes.
Harmonix Technologies, your New Mexico business IT solution. With incredible products that will fit your needs both big and small, and unmatched service, it's your vision delivered. Learn how we can help your business roar into action today. Harmonix Technologies, your New Mexico business IT solution.